In a new survey, Palestinians happily reveal all kinds of scary information. What they think about Hamas, the October 7th massacre, the Palestinian Authority, and who they want their new president to be. We're going to get into that, along with an update on the peace deal with Saudi Arabia. I'm Ben, and this is the Israel Guys. Welcome back to the Israel Guys, where we believe that in a world of Jew hatred and anti-Israel propaganda, you should have a direct connection to the land and people of Israel. Thank you so much once again for joining us here on YouTube. Also, a special shout out to our podcast listeners for joining us faithfully each and every week. We're so glad to have you. Our summit, our Israel Guys Summit, is coming up quickly. And we just received word that Yair Levy will be joining us for the summit and also doing a special concert that week as well. This is May 20th through the 22nd in Nashville at the Sonesta Hotel, and registration is open right now. So go over to theisraelguys.com/summit and register right now. Please consider joining us and showing your public support for the land and people of Israel when they need it right now more than ever. This week, Dr. Khalil Shikaki, don't know how to pronounce that, director of Ramallah's Palestinian Center for Policy and Survey Research, just published a new poll. This poll included Palestinians living in Judea and Samaria, as well as Gaza. There were a number of shocking realizations from this poll. Not necessarily shocking to people who follow Palestinian culture, but to see it on paper all in one place was rather shocking. 90% of Palestinians don't think Hamas committed any atrocities against Israeli civilians on October 7th. 90% of Palestinians don't think Hamas committed civilian atrocities. That number is wild. Shows you the bubble that cultures can get in with social media that channel people down, the rabbit hole that they want to be channeled down. And only 1 in 5 Palestinians have seen videos of the atrocities committed by Hamas. Same kind of deal right there. A testament to just the crazy polarization of social media these days, that you have all these Palestinians or these young kids and adults. Pretty much everyone has a smartphone and access to Twitter and Facebook and stuff. And only 1 in 5 have seen these shocking videos that have been permeating the internet for months as of this point. 50% believe that Hamas will continue to rule Gaza after the war, which is also kind of crazy. 80% oppose the idea of Arab countries ruling Gaza, outside Arab countries ruling Gaza, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Egypt, different ideas that have been floated by governments around the world for a post-war Gaza. 80% of Palestinians are opposed to that. You see the feeling inside of Judea and Samaria and Gaza that Arab countries don't really care about them, outside Arab countries don't really care about them, that they have to stand on their own, that, other Arab countries advocate for a two-state solution because of their own self-interest, a feeling that is validated by truth. Many Arab countries don't really care about the Palestinians, even though they do bear lip service to their cause. It's pretty much for their own gain, as we've seen played out time and time again. 71% of Palestinians still believe October 7th was the correct action from Hamas. That's wild right there, considering that Gaza is leveled right now and Hamas is nearly destroyed. It shows you, like I talk about all the time, that foreign policy does have consequences. The attitude of Europe and the attitude of the United States to this war that's happening in Israel and in Gaza right now matters. Palestinians see the way that the international community has defended Hamas tooth and nail over this war and is desperate to save Hamas from destruction in Gaza. And they see it, and they see that October 7th was the right move for Hamas. That's the majority viewpoint, according to this Palestinian poll. I think that needs to change. I think that terrorists who commit atrocious terrorist attacks need to feel such an overwhelming sting from the world that immediately afterwards they regret it. Immediately afterwards, their people that vote for them regret it with everything inside of them. and months later would look back on that and say that was the worst mistake we ever committed. I don't know why we were so foolish. This is the crazy part of the survey. 70% of Palestinians that were polled would support Ismail Haniyeh, one of the major leaders of Hamas, in an election against Mahmoud Abbas. We've seen this poll before, but this is up even more from before. So majority, by a long shot, overwhelming majority of Palestinians would support Hamas over the Palestinian Authority. We know that before. But if Hamas were pitted up against Marwan Barghouti, he would win against Hamas by a strong majority. And not only that, but Barghouti would also win against Mahmoud Abbas, the current dictator of the Palestinian Authority, by also an overwhelming majority. Barghouti was a leader in Fatah, the terrorist arm of the Palestinian Authority, kind of the more militant public arm of the Palestinian Authority. He is accredited with leading the first and second intifadas, masterminded the first and second intifadas, which led to the death of 1,400 Israelis and thousands of Palestinians. In 2002, he was arrested by the IDF, convicted of murder charges, and sentenced to 5 life sentences, and he is still in Israeli prison. But many think that he continues to direct Fatah from Israeli prison. So you get the idea as to who this guy is. The U.S. is desperate to create a two-state solution inside of Israel. They think Mahmoud Abbas and the Palestinian Authority as a moderate arm that Israel can deal with, that could create, a two-state solution, and that the Palestinians, they really want freedom, they really want democracy, they really want just peaceful lives with their children. If they could only be liberated from Hamas, if the peaceful Palestinian Authority could only take over and liberate the people from terrorist arms, terrorist governments that are oppressing them, then they could just have peace in the Middle East. But polls like this show the true sentiment of the Palestinian people, that even if Israel created a two-state solution with Abbas, who himself is a terrorist, he just is a little bit more cautious about his public stance on terrorism. Even if so, Mahmoud Abbas is dying or very close to dying. He's very old and very poor health. And even though he's held political control over Judea and Samaria, over the Palestinian Authority for quite some time now, his control is slipping, and very soon Palestinians will have to choose a new leader, or a new leader will be chosen for them. And the overwhelming sentiment inside of Palestinian communities, inside Gaza and also Judea and Samaria, is for terrorists, not only terrorists, but terrorists who take action. They don't want corrupt leaders like Mahmoud Abbas. They want pure-hearted jihadist terrorists who will destroy the state of Israel, who will murder civilians, who will do whatever it takes to defeat Israel and defeat the West. This is reflected by this polling of Palestinians wanting to elect Hamas once again because they're cool. They do what they put their money where their mouth is. They put their lives on the line to do what they say they'll do, unlike Hamas, unlike Mahmoud Abbas. And also Barghouti, who also put his money where his mouth was and directed the first and second intifadas, and resulting in ending up in Israeli prison for hopefully the rest of his life. There's no simple solution here for Judea and Samaria, for Gaza, but really the only path forward for Israel is at some point they're going to have to annex Judea and Samaria, also possibly Gaza. They're going to have to figure out what to do with the Palestinian people, give residency to, with non-national voting rights, to, not allow voting in national elections for Palestinians, create some sort of path to citizenship for Palestinians. But whatever they do, they have to stand strong against the American government and against other Western countries that want them desperately to create a two-state solution, because it would be disaster for Israel, and it would also be disaster for the Palestinian people. We're going to get into an update on a peace deal, supposed peace deal with Saudi Arabia here in a second. But first, would you like to have a better understanding of the Book of Psalms and its beautiful original language? Meet Israel 365's The Israel Bible Book of Psalms Pray Like David edition. Imagine having the sacred Psalms in both Hebrew and English complemented by a rich feature, a verse-by-verse English transliteration. The transliteration helps you decipher the Hebrew words in English, enabling you to understand every Hebrew word in the book of Psalms. But there's an additional layer of richness. The English translation in the Pray Like David edition closely mirrors the accuracy of the original Hebrew text of Psalms. It stands as a very authentic and readable English translation of King David's prayers. Immersing yourself in the book of Psalms offers solace and strength to your heart and soul, especially when you delve into King David's original words in Hebrew. Our friends at Israel 365 are offering a generous discount on the Israel Bible Book of Psalms, bringing your copy to just $24.99. Click the link in the description below to order your copy today and become part of this prayerful journey. As we delve into the Psalms, walking in the footsteps of King David, let's pray with renewed passion and understanding. Your prayers are needed now more than ever, shaping the future of the land of Israel. So the Times of Israel just dropped an article with some updates finally on the Saudi peace deal that's been on and off for quite some time, was famously put on hold with the October 7th massacre and Israel's response. But according to senior State Department official, United States State Department official, in the talks that have been happening behind closed doors with the Saudis, they've been focusing on the bilateral portion of a larger plan. The Saudis would recognize Israel, but in return, they're sticking to their guns that they want progress on a Palestinian state, meaning that a peace deal with the Saudis is not going to happen anytime soon. Like we just talked about, Israel's very strong right now in resisting a Palestinian state because they know it would be disaster for them at this current moment, even though the United States is pushing very hard for Israel to concede and create some sort of two-state solution, a state for the Palestinians. The Saudis are pushing hard for this as well, and it seems like Israel is actually standing strong. They do not want to allow this to happen because they know it would be disaster for them. So sadly, a deal with Saudi Arabia is on hold, I think, for now, unless Israel can navigate this behind closed doors. I don't think the Saudis really want a Palestinian state. You know, I don't think it really does them any good. They don't seem to really care about the Palestinian people a whole lot. More than likely, this is a chance for them to put the deal on hold for whatever the political climate inside of Saudi Arabia is not right for this kind of move with Israel. And it's a great way for them to put the ball in Israel's court and say, you know, we won't deal with you unless A, B, and C, you know, unless you create a Palestinian state, knowing that Israel will not do this. For whatever reason, Arab countries seem to have to virtue signal. It's kind of rite of passage inside of Arab countries that Palestinian state is their form of virtue signaling, not something they actually want. It's just a, hey, we support a Palestinian state in the same way that you support a Palestinian state. We all support a Palestinian state, even though they all know that it's would do them no good, would do the Palestinians no good, and also is just pointless. You know, at this point, not going to happen. Even if it did happen, it would not be good for the Palestinians or for Israel. Guys, don't forget to check out Israel 365's Book of Psalms, Pray Like David edition. Don't forget to subscribe and get the conversation going down below. As always, tune out the fake news and tune into what is actually happening here in the land of Israel. We'll be back nearly every day, Monday through Friday, with your direct connection to the land and people of Israel.